have looks like Christian Nickerson playing against Ricky Sidher.
Yep.
Ricky is on the right-hand side of your screen. Christian is on the left.
Yep.
Ricky was actually also in that same top 8 in San Diego that Shahar Shenhar won. We've seen Shahar a few times earlier today. They actually drove out here together from Northern California.
Oh, that's great.
The two play a lot together, though they are playing different decks. Ricky is playing red-green, which he also played a couple weeks ago at Salt Lake City, and was pretty successful with there. I believe he finished in the top 32 of that tournament. So Christian, it looks like, is playing red-green ramp. His deck looks actually very similar to one of the versions that we saw on camera earlier today. He actually has a couple copies of Faithless Looting, which is an interesting addition in terms of trying to balance out the number of ramp cards you have versus the amount of action.
Yep. And so that can help you get rid of some of that late ramp, which really doesn't do a whole lot for you.
Right, yeah. Late in the game, it can definitely help smooth your draws when what you need is more Titans.
Yeah.
And early on, if you have a fistful of Titans, well, you can go try and find something you can actually do.
Yeah, we've quite often seen the ramp decks just be a little too threat light, especially late game. They have all of the mana to do whatever they want to do, but if you're not drawing anything to actually do with that mana's not doing any good.
Yeah. Absolutely. So this is traditionally a pretty tough matchup for red-green. Speaking from experience, I actually wanted to play a very, very similar red-green aggro deck at the Pro Tour in Honolulu, and ultimately decided to play Wolf Run Ramp because I knew that a bunch of people a bunch of good players, i.e. my teammates, would be playing Wolf Run Ramp, and I wouldn't be able to do well unless I beat them.
So Ricky leads off with a Copperline Gorge into a Llanowar Elf, and then Christian meets his Copperline Gorge with another, and
he has a Faithless Looting here.
Yep.
So
fires off Faithless Looting. He's got a Huntsmaster.
This guy is Sphere. He must have a Rampant Growth in his hand.
Yep. He's got a Textless right there on top.
Yeah. Full out Rampant Growth.
Looks like he's also got Batterskull. He's got the Huntsmaster, which is a checklist card. And he's trying to figure out what he wants to...
This is one of the awkward things about Faithless Looting in a deck like Ramp. Patrick and I were actually talking about this earlier, is that Ramp is a deck that really needs all of its components to function. You really need, you need to hit a critical mass of mana, and you need to have, your big threats that you're actually casting. There's no obvious card to discard. Like in say a graveyard strategy, like Reanimator deck, you clearly just discard your fatty that you're going to reanimate.
All right, and so Ricky follows with a Forest, Green Sun Zenith for a Strangleroot Geist, and gets in on Christian for 2 with the Spirit.
So Geist hits for 2. Christian draws a Forest and is going to play that Rampant Growth.
And so that Geist is going to do some damage before Christian's able to kind of build up into his gas.
Well, he does have a Huntmaster for next turn. So Huntmaster can undo a lot of damage that a Strangleroot Geist will get in for. So Christian Rampant Growths and just passes the turn back. Ricky.
And so Christian is running in terms of threats. He's got 3 Solemns, which are really more ramp cards than threats. An Acidic Slime, which is more of an answer. But then he's got a Wormcoil Engine and Inferno Titan, which we saw him discard. 4 Primeval Titans and 3 Huntsmasters.
I believe he discarded a Sphere of the Suns and an Inferno Titan.
An Inferno Titan,
yeah.
So he discarded his only Inferno Titan.
And then we're seeing a copy of that
Strangleroot
Geist. And that's the... And Metamorph is actually one of the more powerful cards that the red-green deck actually has against Ramp, because it gives you both access to an early game aggressive creature in the form of copying your own Strangleroot Geist, as well as giving the option to copy, late game copy something like a Titan. So Huntmaster is going to come down, which will put Christian back to 15 life, give him 2/2 bodies, which is pretty relevant considering that he's facing several 2-power creatures.
Now, those Strangleroot guys don't really have a major problem fighting. Ricky actually reaches into his sideboard and
here, have a wolf.
Pulls out a wolf for him, for Christian. Christian passes back over, tapped out, and we'll see whether or not...
Well, Ricky, for removal here, he has a couple copies of Galvanic Blast and a couple copies of Brimstone Volley. So I think what his best play here, if he had it, I think would be Hellrider. If he was able to play a Hellrider and ship the whole team, that would do so much damage. But nope. Christian decides to block one of the real Geist rather than the copy, so he can't copy the Huntmaster.
Yeah, that's one of the really strong things about Metamorph is when it does copy an Undying creature, it becomes extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah, one of the confusing things for a lot of players is how it actually interacts if it's coming back with Undying. Okay, well, his Huntmaster blocks his Metamorph. What can it come back as? It's like, well, it can't come back as as the Huntmaster, because Huntmaster's dead, but it can come back if you block if say like both the Geist and the Metamorph died in combat, or each player controlled an Undying creature. It's like, oh god, what happened?
And so Ricky's going to find a Huntsmaster of his own,
and has a Star City Games Token Wolf.
So that Strangleroot Geist now a 3/2. As Ricky digs out the Huntsmaster.
Batterskull. Batterskull is a potential problem for Ricky. If he
Looking
has
for a Germ token, there we are.
If he has another Zenith and a land, he can go get Acidic Slime.
So let's see.
But it looks like he's a checklist card in his hand. Nope. That is a Zenith. So yeah, he's going to go Zenith for Acidic Slime, kill Batterskull.
That puts him into pretty good shape.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty important here. He's able to swing with his team, and he'll do, if he says with everything, the Huntmasters will trade, and then he'll do 7 damage, putting Christian down to 6 life.
Yes, because he used the
there's he tapped the land roll for mana, and one of those Strangleroot Geist has Undying counter. So, the full squad will come in. And
this is a trade he's happy to make.
Yeah, I mean, he would certainly prefer to get that off the board. The Huntmaster flipping back and forth is much more advantageous for Christian than it is for Ricky, because he's actually able to kill things. So yeah, he's trading with Huntmasters, sure. So 7 damage to Christian, goes down to 6 life. He really needs a sweeper, or even a Titan.
Wormcoil.
Even a Titan isn't enough.
Put him into pretty good shape.
Inferno Titan would be.
But he discarded that.
And I mean, that's exactly what we were saying earlier. It's like, you don't necessarily, when you're playing a deck like Ramp, you don't necessarily know, well, he can flash back that looting, and does not find a Slagstorm, and I believe he is dead. And he agrees
Christian
with me.
will pick up.
So, all right, so Ricky, generally the underdog was as red-green against Ramp, manages to pull that game out as Christian is a little too mana flooded. Going to the sideboards, what do you think happens here?
So, Christian has access to Ancient Grudge, Surgical Extraction, Autumn's Veil, Ratchet Bomb. He's got 2 more Batterskulls, 2 more Wormcoil engines, a Karn Liberated, Garrick the Primal Hunter, and a Grafdigger's Cage. I've got to think the Wormcoil engines and the Batterskulls are...
Yeah, Wormcoil and Batterskull are both really, really scary for red-green.
But
that said, there's so, like, what comes out?
Yeah.
Like, all of his cards are good. It's not like he's taking out, like cards that aren't good to put these in.
Well, I think that the Acidic Slime probably comes out, because I'm not sure what your answer is.
Well, if
you need it for the swords, but he didn't see any.
Well, I mean, generally red-green decks do have access to swords, and it's important. It's important to sideboard against what you anticipate both your opponent having in their main deck and your opponent having in their sideboard.
Yep.
A lot of green-red decks have access to sort of Feast and Famine somewhere in their 75, and leaving yourself completely without answers to it is going to be kind of problematic. And that said, he is bringing in Wormcoil Engine, which can block any sort of creature.
So essentially, you want to have the answers, and also he wants to have the big threats. Yeah, I think in this he needs the things that can turn the game around, and so I think Inferno Titan's really important to hold on to. I think that was a key thing when he discarded it early, expecting to draw more gas.
I mean, like it's weird, like. Faithless Looting is a card that people cast all the time when they just have the mana. You don't want to cast Faithless Looting a lot of the time. If your hand is fine, hold your Faithless Looting.
Yeah.
That 1 mana, throughout the game, at some point there's a good chance you're going to have a chance to cast it, and be able to actually discard cards that you don't want. It's like, oh, I have extra mana. Oh, I have these these weak cards in this matchup. I'll get rid of them. He ended up having to discard like a ramp spell and a Titan. In a matchup where all he wants to do is ramp into Titans.
Yep.
Like, I just don't think that's really the position you want to be in when you're using an effect like that. I actually think I'd board out Faithless Looting here. I think it's a sort of card that this is a sort of matchup where you need all your resources. You really want to have powerful cards. And you don't really get into a situation where you're sitting there, your opponent deals with your threats, and you run out and you need to loot for them. No, it's like you play a Titan and they're dead or you're dead.
Yeah.
It's just how that works.
I think both Batterskull and Wormcoil Engine are just so strong in this matchup that, and all you got to do is hit 5 or 6 mana. You don't need to worry about what color it is, anything along those lines.
My inclination is that you want to get rid of the 2 Faithless Lootings. I'd probably get rid of the 1 Devil's Play, and I'd find 1 more card to shave. And I'd board in, if you have these cards in your sideboard, this is what they're here for. I'd board in 2 Batterskull, 2 Wormcoil.
Yep.
So, Garrick's pretty good too. It seems like he has too many cards to bring that he wants to bring in here, and not enough things that you actually want to cut.
Now, Huntsmaster, do you want to get into that situation where you play Huntsmaster, your opponent plays Huntsmaster?
Huntsmaster is just so important in the ramp deck against the aggro decks because it presents both as life gain and it presents bodies that gum up the board. The Huntmaster is much more powerful in the ramp deck against the red-green aggro deck than the Huntmaster that red-green aggro deck has against the ramp deck because the bodies are way more relevant. Where in the red-green deck they're just 2/2s that don't really they'll get killed by say Whip Flare or Slagstorm. The red-green aggro deck has to attack through those 2/2s to actually get damage in. So the Huntmasters definitely stay.
So this may be a crazy idea, but is Primeval Titan the answer? Because wouldn't you much rather have a Batterskull or a Wormcoil Engine in this matchup than a Primeval?
I mean, in a lot of situations, granted, in Game 2 I can see that being possible. For Game 3, he may want to actually change his sideboarding if he draws a number of Batterskulls / Wormcoils because he doesn't want to potentially leave himself open to just dying to Ancient Grudges if Grudges come in from the red-green deck. From Ricky's side, he has Acidic Slime, Mana Barbs, Grudge, Sword of Feast and Famine, Active Aggression, Primeval Titan, and Increasing Savagery. These are all actually potentially relevant cards.
I think Active Aggression is the scariest thing for Christian.
Active Aggression is
if he knew that was there, I don't think that's pretty scary. That would make him very happy.
So I think Ricky's weakest cards are Gallop Blast, Brimstone Volley, and Daybreak Ranger. So if he let's say he just cut those 5 and boarded in Active Aggression, Increasing Savagery, and Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yep.
Mana Barbs is good. I think Mana Barbs is way better if you're in the play than on the draw because...
Yep, that may be something that comes in next game.
You may, and this is something that Patrick and I were actually talking about a little bit, is that I think players don't think nearly enough about what they want to do when they're on the play versus in the draw. Certain cards are dramatically better dependent on whether you are the first or second player.
Looks like Christian's holding on.
Ricky looked like he was agonizing a bit.
Ricky's got a ship back.
Picks up 5 cards, so it's either drawing a lot of extras or he's mulliganing.
How do you feel about looking? When you look?
I never look. Never look. It's actually, there's a funny story back from years ago, Grand Prix Denver. I was actually sitting, playing against this opponent whose name I don't remember. But we were sitting next to Pat Chapin, and he's playing right next to us. And my opponent mulligans, and he peeks at the top cards of his deck. And this is years ago. This is before I was requalified for the Pro Tour. And I was like, I'm just trying to be like sort of helpful. I'm like, I think you should really never look because next time you're in the situation, you're like, oh well, I would have drawn that last time or whatever. Because people just don't function purely rationally.
The decision is completely made on the information that you have access to. And it doesn't matter what the next cards are.
But it can also irrationally influence you because you think about the time you would have gotten there and won. And Patrick's sitting there next to him, and he's like, well, he's like, if you're able to, consider these things rationally, you may be able to gather more data, over like an extended period of these things, and actually sort of, get better at doing it in the future. And my opponent looks at me, looks at Pat, looks at me, and he's like, you know what? I listen to him, pointing to Pat. He's like, because he's the pro. I'm just like, man, has it been so long? I don't think he'd say that these days, but we're back with more action. So Christian opens with a Copperline Gorge. Ricky does the same. Has a Llanowar Elf that immediately dies to Galvanic Blast.
Yeah, we saw that last time. And Rampant Growth. This is looking really similar.
Yep, Christian.
Galvanic Blast replaces the Faithless Looting, but
Galvanic Blast is a lot better than Faithless Looting here.
Yeah.
Actually slows down Ricky's start as opposed to discards an Inferno Titan. So Ricky looks to have
got a Green Sun Zenith, which he would have been able to be aggressive with had he been able to hold on to that Llanowar Elf. Christian playing the not so ironic when he's playing Wolf Run Ramp, I Heart Fatty Sleeves. There's a Primeval Titan in his hand. He's got a Worm Coil engine, and he's got a Huntmaster, and there comes the Huntmaster, and that's a heck of a lot better than the Huntmaster he played last game.
Oh yeah, I mean he's
looks a whole lot better.
He's way ahead in the board now. I mean, being on the play, killing Ricky's Man Accelerator while having acceleration of his own, and then playing a Huntmaster before Ricky has any board at all. In particular now, there's a very good chance that Ricky doesn't have any sort of removal that can actually just kill Huntmaster in his deck, and Christian has the option to just say go on his turn and potentially just eat something with his Huntmaster. Yeah, so we see Zenith for 2, which is going to get a Stranglegeist.
The other piece of it is, Ricky's held up. I think we saw a Huntsmaster in his hand, but he can't just play it,
right?
Because
this is the
Christian will just pass back over.
Right. And this is the eternal Huntmaster dilemma, and the reason that it's very important to have spot removal in matchups where you have dueling Huntmasters. The way it works is because of the whole active non-active player thing. The player whose turn it is, their triggers go on the stack. The player whose turn it isn't, triggers go on the stack and resolve first. So if you have a Huntmaster to play first, you say go, your opponent plays a Huntmaster, they pass back. You can just say go, and yours will transform first and kill theirs before it has a chance to flip.
Yep. And that's the other reason why, Galvanic Blast can be key there, even if all it does is take out another card.
Here comes Humph. And yep. I imagine, he's just going to kill Bird. So, and looking at Christian's hand, I see Primeval Titan, and Ricky has nothing that can compete with the Primeval Titan. Oh, he can copy it. I do see a...
Yep, there was a Metamorph right there.
Metamorph. So it looks like he may play a Huntmaster of his own here, perhaps?
Because now with Huntmaster flipped...
Or is he going to... He's going to Metamorph his...
Strangleroot, guys. That's interesting.
Huh.
Gives him a blocker that will come back and be able to copy something, but if you're a Christian, you should be able to effectively not.
I don't know about this.
Give him any.
Just send with it. Yeah. Boom. So Ricky takes 4, goes to 12 life, and Christian could just play a Titan.
Yeah.
Oh, Worm Coil. All right. He has a Titan in his hand.
Yep.
I think I probably would have played Titan. You're far enough ahead that getting a Wolf Run is just devastating.
Don't think Llanowar Elf is going to dig Ricky out of this one.
And also, given how far ahead he is in life totals, he'd actually much prefer that Ricky copied a Primeval Titan when his guy comes back than copies a Worm Coil engine. So here, you just...
So now the Metamorph's going to be able to block something, and this is going to be fairly advantageous for Ricky.
I don't know if I'd call it advantageous. He's able to trade off for the Ravager and chump block the Worm Coil.
And bring his Metamorph back.
His Metamorph will come back as a 7/7 Worm Coil.
Yeah.
Which is powerful, but I mean he's certainly not ahead after that play. He's still facing down the Worm Coil and taking, I guess he doesn't take any damage.
He doesn't take any damage.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that could be...
This puts him in decent shape. I still would have liked to have seen him hold on to the Metamorph.
Well, I mean, like, consider if that was a Primeval Titan instead. He doesn't really have the option of chump blocking it because it has trample, and there's the threat of Wolf Run giving something else trample. And
now this is interesting because I think this is awful. If you put 2 guys in front of one, like, he doesn't have to kill the Metamorph.
Yeah, he can just assign all the damage to... Yeah, I would just assign all the damage to the
Strangleroot
Geist. But he doesn't.
Interesting.
So we have a 7/7 Worm Coil.
All right, so mistakes all around. We're good.
And does he? He does have 2 green. Yeah, so he can just cast a Titan. I guess he'd rather. I don't really get this. I certainly would have rather had that Titan in play last turn because could have hit him for. He may have just been able to lethal him this turn. He would have gotten Wolf Run and a Nexus last turn.
Yeah.
And then could have pumped for...
And now Ricky's got 7 power worth of lifelink, which kills everything that Christian has on the board.
Yeah.
And gains him 7. So So if he attacks right now with both of those, I guess he can activate Wolf Run for a lot.
Well, Wolf Running a Death Touch creature is bonkers.
Yeah.
So being able to Wolf Run that that engine is pretty powerful.
2, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I mean he can get past the 7/7 lifelink, but
I mean, he'll get Ricky will be gaining 7 life regardless of what he blocks because of the way lifelink works nowadays. I mean, Christian also has the Air Force with the pair of Nexus.
Now the out for Ricky was actually, I think, a Wolf Run of his own.
A Wolf Run of his own will be pretty brutal.
But right now, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's going to be able to activate it for 6. So he could hit for 11, which would not be enough. If he swings with both of those, he's still short.
I mean, he doesn't need to kill him this turn.
Yeah. But he loses his Primeval Titan.
Well, he can.
Then the next turn,
if he tramples with the Primeval Titan, if he goes Wolf Runs a Primeval Titan, he'll kill the Wormcoil at least.
But if he chumps the Wormcoil with the Llanowar, then he's going to wind up even further behind. Ricky's going to gain more life.
Yeah.
And the key is you want to trample the one that's going to actually hit for the most. I guess you want to get rid of the...
I mean, yeah, you want to get rid of the 7/7.
7/7, yeah. So
yeah, he's just going to block
blocks
both.
correctly.
So if he tramples, he can what? Wolf Run for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yep.
So if he Wolf Runs the Titan for 6, it's 12. He does 5 damage. Ricky gains 7. So Ricky goes to 7, and he loses his Primeval Titan. And then Ricky gets the Death Touch lifelink token.
Yep. So we're going to tap a whole bunch, and he puts it onto the Wormcoil.
Wolf Running that one? Oh, wow.
That was
very bad. It just got grudged. So Ricky just wiped his board with that attack.
We've got some tokens coming back, I believe.
This is very bad for Christian.
I'm pretty sure we've got tokens coming back.
Yeah, he should. So Wolf running that one would have been 12. Oh, that actually would have been
it would have made 11. 12 power. It would have been 11 life. Because of.
So yeah, that doesn't.
Wow,
yeah,
Grudge was.
That Grudge was huge. Grudge is actually a card that I think that people rarely bring in against Wolf Run that I actually like. Obviously, it's particularly good if your opponent has things like Batterskull and Wormcoil Engine, and we were discussing just how powerful those would be, based on the possibility that Ricky had Grudge. In particular, it also can kill Sphere of the Suns, which a lot of people don't really pay attention to. That killing their mana is so important.
So now Ricky should be at 12, I believe.
Yeah, Ricky goes, and now he goes up to 19.
And that surprises me. I'm not sure why he didn't get rid of the Death Touch one before attacking.
Well, how could he do that? Oh, with the Grudge.
He has the Grudge in his bin.
Yeah, that probably would have been better. Although no, the Grudge can actually kill. I actually think that's correct because of the Nexus Wolf Run, he's potentially just able to. Christian's just able to just kill him if he doesn't Grudge them. Christian has them on a 2-turn clock off of these Nexus, and I think what Christian should just do is activate all his Nexus and just send them all.
Yep. He's also at such a high life total here that he's. I
mean, both players are enormous life totals thanks to both Wormcoil engines, and that's another scary thing with Wormcoil Engine.
And there's another one.
All right. Well, we got many an engine. Wormcoil Huntmaster. All right.
We're just going to play a whole bunch of cards.
Are back at enormous life.
So Ricky draws his card, and I don't think his turn has any chance of being that powerful.
So, yeah, there's really nothing in Ricky's deck that's that powerful. He's increasing savagery. I mean, increasing savagery on one of these guys could be, make it gigantic. But even then, it just runs into the Wormcoil Engine. And we see that flip over. It's going to eat, I assume, Llanowar Elf. Oh, nope. It's going to kill Stronger Guys. Yeah, I guess that if he wants to like use his Whip Flare, kill some of those things.
He gets 2 of them.
I don't know that that's a huge deal either way, but given the life totals, I think he just wants to be swinging with Nexus. He's going to go for it.
Whip Flare is going to wipe Strangleroot and Llanowar. It's also going to take down his wolf.
It does 2 to his Huntmaster. So Death Touch can Lifelink can just block the Huntmaster. Death Touch can block the Wormcoil.
And that puts Ricky not in great.
Or he can just grudge it, but that still leaves him facing. Or you can just ignore it.
Interesting.
So yeah, life totals continue to go up primarily. We're actually having more life gained than life lost.
So that I believe was 9 gained by Christian, and Ricky nets out at down 3. And another Huntsmaster. Christian just keeps playing some gas.
Pretty soon he's going to play Test of Endurance and win, I think. I have so much life. I don't even know what life he's at. I don't really care. It's not like he's going to die from damage this game. He's going to get decked before he dies from damage. Yeah, okay.
And Ricky just
not going to die, that's for
decides with a Wormcoil and 2 Huntsmasters played in the last 2 turns by Christian that probably has a better chance on the play in Game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and that game, sort of showed just how powerful, just the big threats that Wolfrun's able to present against Red-Green. Red-Green, even though Ricky had that, that devastating Ancient Grudge that, could have potentially swung the game, it just wasn't enough because the Wolfrun deck was just able to pump out so many big threats.
Yep.
Ricky really needs to have a strong aggressive start. Hopefully backed up with something like active aggression, maybe increasing savagery, maybe Sword of Feast and Famine. I would not be. I don't know how many grudges he brought in for that game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has. If he brings in a second one after seeing multiple Wormcoils.
Yeah, I was going to say keeping them in. If he brought in both or bringing in the full complement seems likely after how many times it would have been a game-breaking card. But so that block with where he blocked with the Strangleroot and the Metamorph that was copying the Strangleroot, obviously. Christian's decision to kill both of them didn't come back to haunt him.
Yeah, I mean, and I do think that the Primeval Titan would have been a much better turn 6 play, just in terms of putting Ricky on a much better clock, in terms of being able to get his Wolf Run. I mean, you still can play the Wormcoil after that. But if your opponent copies your Primeval Titan, it's much less scary than copying the Wormcoil when you have them at that low of life.
Yeah,
you'd much rather just have them be able to actually just kill them. If he copies his Primeval Titan, sure, you just all you do is trample over it. If he copies your Wormcoil, not only is he gaining life from the lifelink of the Wormcoil, but he's getting two things when it dies.
Yep.
So
now, do you think that maybe he was scared of a Wolf Run from Ricky and being able to turn his smaller guys into something that can fight?
Maybe. Frankly, I think he just thought getting down a Wormcoil early is awesome because I gain life.
Just wins.
Because a Wormcoil against a red-green deck is extremely powerful. But I mean, given the interaction it has with the Phyrexian Metamorph with Undying, and I think he wasn't really thinking about that. That's really what it comes down to. If Ricky got a Wolf, copied the Primeval Titan, got his own Wolf Run. I mean, Christian was still at 20 at that point, or like 22 even. So he wasn't really in range of dying to anything that Ricky's deck was capable of actually producing. Yeah. We also didn't really see Christian use his Nexus at all that game.
Yeah.
There was a long period during that game where he could have been attacking with a bunch of Nexus and was continued developing his board. I mean, granted, he just kept drawing gigantic monsters.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing
he could have gotten in with a Nexus here and there. That if somehow there was something in Ricky's deck that could get out of that, could have ended up swinging the game if he was able to get in one big lethal hit at the end. So we're going to be going to Game 3 here. For those of you who are just joining us, we are in round 6 of the StarCityGames.com Phoenix Open. I'm Brian Kibler. I am here with Jared Silva.
How's it going, guys?
Christian Nickelson on the left of your screen, Ricky Sidher on the right. Christian is playing Wolf Front Ramp, while Ricky Sidher is playing Red-Green Aggro. 2 decks near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And Ricky,
a lot of Huntmasters.
Ricky led off, winning the first game of the match on the play. Christian came back in game 2 and showed us just how powerful the Wolf Run deck can be.
It's like, what do you got?
Bomb after bomb after bomb.
6 drop, 6 drop, 6 drop.
And so Ricky's hoping that he's going to be able to come back and kind of channel that game 1 where he was able to get off to a very aggressive start and put Christian on his back foot, and Christian wasn't able to hit on any of the kind of saving cards in his deck.
Yeah, what Red Green really wants to have happen is they want to get off to a good start with optimally a couple of Strangroot whether it's a Strangroot Geist, then a Zenith for Strangroot Geist, or a Strangroot Geist copy it, which can put the Wolf Run deck under substantial pressure, even if it does have a sweeper effect. That's what's so good about Strangroot Geist in this matchup, is that even you're able to apply pressure and continue to develop your board, even if your opponent has a sweeper effect that can otherwise completely wreck your development. Yep. The scariest card for the Red-Green deck coming out of the Wolf Run deck at that stage of the game is actually Huntmaster. We saw Christian play an early Huntmaster in game 2 when he was on the play, and Ricky doesn't have much pressure, and that really just Ricky wasn't able to overcome that, let alone the stream of 6 drops that followed it.
I think the key in game 2 was actually the Galvanic Blast on the Lano on turn 1.
It's huge. Being able to stunt Ricky's development, so Ricky wasn't able to Zenith for a Strangroot Geist there. It's weird because right now in Standard there are no particularly good beatdown 3 drops. But there is Zenith for Geist, which is serious beatdown.
So Ricky
once again,
leads off
we have Copperland Gorge
exactly
on both sides. And do we have a beatdown 3? We do. We have Zenith for Geist, who is going to come in. We do not have a Galvanic Blast from Christian, which I imagine he would have used to kill that Llanowar Elf if he had it. Though he just drew it as I said it. So there's the...
all right, so...
And this is actually interesting, because this shows just how important sort of the pacing of the way that you actually are able to spend your mana is. Because Christian drew Galvanic Blast this turn, he can't afford to cast it because he has to cast Rampant Growth in order to accelerate his development for future turns. So because he didn't have that Galvanic Blast right away, he's actually multiple turns behind on being able to actually cast it because of the way the sort of pacing of his deck functions.
Yep. And ideally, he's not going to have a chance to cast it next turn because he wants a Huntsmaster on turn 3.
Yeah, he wants to cast something much bigger than that.
And so Ricky's turn 1 has been the same every single game.
It has.
And Christian's turn 2 has been the same every single game.
Yes, it has. And there we have just a bird.
But it's pretty impressive, the difference between who's going first and how these boards look. Ricky looks like he's in decent shape here, as opposed to...
Ricky really needed another threat that turn. He only has... Right now he only has a Strangler Geist, which it looks like he's going to get that blasted and then get Slag Stormed. Yep. So,
and he already has picked them up and put them in the bin.
As soon as that gets blasted, you know what's happening.
Yep.
And Ricky has no threat.
And that is not good for...
What is his hand? I see a Grudge. And Sphere
of the Suns. And Christian looks like he's stalled out on mana to some degree. No, he doesn't have any more lands.
Isn't that another Rampant Growth in his hand?
I believe so.
He's just not casting it? I'm a little confused. He is...
Yep. Passes back over.
That is a Rampant Growth, right? That second card?
Looks a lot like a Rampant Growth.
All right, well, he's going to cast Green Sun Zenith.
4 is going to go get Huntsmaster, I would...
Yep. So we're going to have a Huntmaster. Christian going back up to 17. Ricky with a bit too reactive a draw here. Not enough... too many mana creatures, just the one Grudge here. I mean, Grudge is a good card, but having too many reactive cards when you're the beatdown deck against effectively a control deck. I mean, ramp is pseudo control and pseudo combo. Yeah. It's trying to just lengthen the game and get to a particular point. And there's another mana creature.
Grudge for Ricky really needs to be clearing the way for him to get damage through. If all it's doing is taking out a Sphere of the Suns, it's not really.
Grudging a Sphere is actually excellent if Ricky has access to. I don't agree with this. I think he should just pass the turn. I think he should save his Galvanic Blast there. Just
yeah,
pass
he
the
basically
turn.
gets a free one,
Right.
or even get in with the wolf. If you're willing to trade that,
Right? You're totally happy to trade the wolf away, or just say go, but save your galvanic blast there. There's no reason to use your card for.
And
for
so it definitely
and
was a rampant
that was a
growth.
rampant growth that he didn't cast. And in particular, if you have galvanic blast and rampant growth, you can say go, flip your guy, galvanic blast, rampant growth in a future turn, and flip it back. As I hiccup. It looks like Ricky has a second grudge in his hand.
And that would have been really good in game 2.
Yeah, it would have.
Not so much in this game, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So it looks like, despite being able to pull out game 1, being the underdog is not going to work out so well for Ricky.
it is not looking too good for him this game. All right, well, he is copying the Huntmaster.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, copying Huntmaster is never fun because their Huntmaster can flip and yours cannot. It's one of those little things of double face cards. Like you can try and flip it, but there's nothing in the back, so it just kind of stays there. I mean, he should attack with his wolf here. I mean,
probably just.
I would just attack with wolf and wolf run it for the maximum. No, don't attack with Huntmaster. What are you doing? You're just attack with wolf. Wolf, get him! Ow!
And if you haven't figured out yet, Brian really likes wolves.
I like Huntmaster.
Huntmaster.
That card is so good.
It's not as good when it can't flip.
It's true.
It's significantly worse when it can't.
It's like an imitation Gucci Huntmaster over there. It's like you got your knockoff handbag. No, I got the real thing.
So Christian trying to make the decisions here, and looks like he's going to get aggressive. And he's got a batter skull in his hand, which seems fine, but there's a grudge in the bin.
Grudge in the yard. Yeah, well, I really don't understand this play.
Everything died.
I'm so confused.
We know there's a grudge in the bin.
Yeah, there's.
Come on up to the side of this area.
Grudge it.
It's dead already, right? Okay.
Christian has nothing now.
And I guess playing empty-handed works in his favor because his
Ricky
cards are
grudged something
better.
else. I'm confused. What just?
No, he grudged the.
Well, he flashed back to grudge and cast a grudge. It looked like. He attacked with a Nexus. That's what happened.
Oh,
Got it. Okay. And I was going to grudge that Nexus. Or maybe he's not going to grudge that Nexus. He's going to take the one there. Yeah, I think that attack was pretty poor. Like he should just have a Huntmaster in play that's just eating Ricky. I mean, he would have Huntmaster plus Wolf Run. That just kills Ricky so fast. But now, I mean, granted, playing off the top of his deck in this position, he's very likely to win anyway.
Yeah.
Because he's playing a deck that has a ton of powerful effects.
And you got to think there goes the other grudge.
Well, I mean, he's the man to return Batterskull now. So if Ricky grudges it, he gets to bounce it.
Oh, good lord.
And I will play this.
Why?
Well, because she's gonna try and copy Batterskull.
Well,
if Christian doesn't recognize how it's gonna work. Okay, yeah, he's he's like, okay, hold on.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And
there we go. So he kills the Batterskull. That was his plan all along. Either I get a Batterskull or I get to kill yours. And Worm Coil.
Okay. And that's both of the grudges. Which
I got a bird though.
And
I got a bird. Hold on. Hold the phone. I will Worm Coil you for the maximum. All of it. All of it? No. Did you draw another Worm Coil? What's going on? Not all of it? A Huntmaster. Could have at least comps for like 2, right?
I'm pretty sure not relevant.
It doesn't
at this
matter.
point, but
yep, all right, there you have
Ricky
it.
Picks up.
and Christian Nickelson, on the back of some very, very powerful 6-drops, takes the match against Ricky Sidher 2-1.
And I think he's He's got some friends over his shoulder now who are probably playing some backseat driver.
It's a lot of